Today, I'm going to be talking about procrastination, and it's a challenge for me. It's always been a problem. Sometimes it gets very tough for me to crack open that big wall of procrastination that I've been building around my head just to kind of keep myself immune from all the sadness that is going to erupt when I look at the exact reality. And when I try to be honest with myself, like brutal honesty is just, yeah, it's brutal. That's why it's called brutal honesty, but you have to apply that to your life. Like every day when you wake up, you have to have this accountability mirror. I was reading this book by David Goggins, right? And it's called Can't Hurt Me. And I know that it's a very famous one, and you know about it. I'm sure that you've heard of it. I have no doubt there, but the stuff that he said at some point was just so sensible to me. Like it makes sense that that would work. Like he would just go stand in front of the mirror and try to talk to himself about his life and try to be as honest as he can possibly be. And he would like curse at himself and say, oh, you're nothing, like you've done nothing, you're just lying to yourself, you're just afraid of everybody's opinion. Like everything that was true about himself, he would confront it and he would say it out loud, and he would be very up front with himself. Every single day he would wake up and he would do that because he knew that like if he did see the reality as it is, he's not going to be like falling for this illusion that your imagination always gives you, which is like you wishing for reality to be different and kind of living in that wish, kind of just living in your own head, living in the world of lies that you've fabricated for your mental stability to kind of not go awry. Because sometimes if you're very honest with yourself, you probably are not really happy with your life. You're probably not satisfied with the way you're approaching your life. So there's always something you can improve, you know, like if you, even if you're at the grandest level, if everybody looks look up to you and want to learn from you, want to make themselves more like you, want to imitate you, want to like mimic every step that you take, or like want to look like you, whatever. Even if you're that like high stature person, even if that's your identity or your life situation, even then there's so much more you can do. There's so much like to work for and work through and to improve and develop, like as a person who's trying to take life seriously. I know that like no matter how much I work on myself, it's always gonna be like pretty much not enough. So it's just a matter of me looking deeper into myself and figuring out what sort of weakness I have. And even if it's like one small weakness that sounds a bit trivial to you, uh, it's very important for me to like work on it and try to master myself in all the realms that is available to a human being. So I know that it's a very unending situation. Like there's no end to it. It's an endless pursuit that you work on yourself every single day. Like you wake up and you know that there's something that you need to improve, like a skill or a part of your brain not responding to certain stimuli, whatever. I don't even know if that makes sense. I'm saying like sometimes it's not just mental, it's also like physical. So you have to work on it so that you are healthy in the first place, your body is healthy, you're functioning at a good physical level. And when that's done, when you're finished with getting rid of all the physical problem, then you might be able to like just put some time aside for the mental problems. Sometimes we have like, as a person who's always thinking about what I am thinking about, like I'm always at this meta level of figuring out what I think all the time, or like what I believe in, because sometimes I find myself believing in limited perspectives. Like I feel like I'm not going to be able to do something just because, I don't know, I don't see it in myself for no reason, which is something all of us do. It's like an automatic behavior, internal behavior that we impose on ourselves. And if you are self-imposing these stupid things that is nagging at you and like always getting in the way of your success, or becoming a big hurdle in your way, then you have to figure out like where it's coming from, because there's always a root to it, there's always a source. And unless you figure out what is the source, you're not gonna what the source of that is, you're not gonna be able to tackle the problem. You're not gonna be able to like uproot it, to take it out from the root so that it doesn't prosper in the future ever. Like it's never ever going to stand in your way ever again, just because you have uprooted it, you have pulled it out from the base, from the foundation. It's just gone. It's completely eradicated and obliterated. So that's what I would do. Like if I am thinking about something and I know that that sort of pattern of thinking is getting in the way of me doing something that is so valuable to me, I have to like figure out where it's coming from. And if I figure that, oh, it's coming from people that I'm surrounding myself with, oh, it's coming from like this person that I've talked to a long, long time ago, and the residual effect of it is still working on my mind, and it's still like hijacking the plane in a way, right? It's just those small moments that impact you so much that it stays with you for a long time, and you don't even know where it's coming from, right? You don't even know what that limiting belief is stemming from, and where you can go to get rid of it. And right now, right at this moment, I feel like I've got so much to work with. You, as the listener of this podcast, as the audience that is just hearing this, okay, you have so much to work with, because we all have limiting beliefs. If you didn't have limiting beliefs, you probably wouldn't be able to what you probably would never face any resistance. We all have limiting beliefs because we face resistance all the time when we're doing something that is a bit difficult, where the first instinct that we have, the first few nudges, or like the first few tickles of our brain, is that we need to drop it and we need to never go back to that difficult scenario ever again. Like that's just over whelming to you, and that overwhelm is just a limiting belief. Because guess what, like everything that is super familiar to you is not going to be overwhelming. It's either unknown to you that causes overwhelm, or it's like the huge amount of it, which is also unknown. So like it's something that you've never experienced before, and that causes overwhelm, and that's because you think you're not going to be able to do it. Because you've never done it before. And that thought is going to hold you back, and that thought is only a limiting belief. If you familiarize yourself with the situation, if you dabble in it, if you like dip your toes in it first and try to like get as much exposed to it as you possibly can. So like if you're, for example, if you've decided to flee the country, or like, I don't know, if you've decided to tackle this this exam that is super hard, and you have to like pass it in order to enter the favorite university of yours. All of the struggles, all of the barriers that we face in this life, it's always going back to that specific thing that I just mentioned, which is not knowing that you've never done it before, and that knowledge probably is going to get in your way, and it's going to make it very hard for you to tackle it in the first place. So you have to think deeply about like what sort of the experiment I can do in order to get rid of that unknown, get rid of that like unfamiliarity. And once you do it, you become familiar with it, not entirely, but at least you're better off than when you first started to think about that experiments or think about that whole endeavor that you were gonna take on. And it loomed so large in your head just because it was pretty much unknown, and it was like a big block of a vague, like a blob of something in your head, and that would be hard to get through, right? It would be very hard to understand what's happening. So like that's why we always back down from any challenges that we face. I mean, not that we always do that, but like the first instinct is to back down, is to stand down from the big challenge or from this exciting thing that probably will upend your life and would just transform you into a different person and give you like new perspectives that is going to help you like live a better life, right? Live a greater purpose and strive for something greater than you're already striving for. And that's one thing you need to access. Like you need to access this mindset that encourages you to take steps into the unknown and not to be limited to your own territories at all times. Sometimes you might feel very much like comfortable to stay in your own territory, in the known areas. But the most important thing that we need to do in this life is to just leave the nest, to leave the comfort that we're feeling right now, because comfort is the beginning of death, right? It's like life is hard, but when you die, you're like, okay, you're just lying down, right? It's just like there's no struggle when you're dead. And people that are choosing the path of least resistance, they want the no struggle, right? They think that they need that, but no, life is not for just lying on the bed and being cozy under the blanket. That's not life. As Marcus Aurelius said, I think something along the lines of just like, yeah, like staying in bed is very comfortable and it's very pleasant, but that's not what I was born for, right? That's not what life is about. And you need to understand that life is always going to be the up and downs. Life is always going to be the biggest, like you're always going to face some battle, and you have to go into the battle knowing that you're going to do your best. You're going to give it all you got. And it doesn't really matter if you win the battle or you lose. It matters if you've emptied the tank, if you've given it all you have, and if you did not back down from the challenge, if you did not stand down from all the difficulties that might lead to. So you have to voluntarily take on the battleship, like take on the combat and go head to head with all the troubles that might be awaiting you at the other side of this whole conundrum. So life is always about battle, and if you are living a full life, you're always choosing like bigger and bigger battles, and you're not just like hooked on the trivial battles that doesn't even matter, doesn't even lead to any growth and any like expansion of territory, right? You have to have the expansion of territory in your mind, and if you have that, then you are going to do your best because you know that the result is going to be grand and you would achieve a higher level of understanding and of realization. And at this point in this podcast, what I am feeling like is like, not feeling, but like the thought that is entering my brain right now, my mind right now, it's telling me to like stop recording this podcast because I've been going on for such a long time, and right now I feel like, oh, I don't have anything else to say. Why am I dragging this um into unknown, right? Like, I don't even know what's gonna come after this. What if I run out of points? What if I run out of ideas to talk about? What if I figure that I am talking about nothing and I'm talking rubbish, and like I will be wasting my audience's time? All these fear, all these limiting beliefs, just because I've never done this before, right? And just because I've never been able to talk for such a long time in the past doesn't mean that I'm not going to be able to do it right now. So, what you need to tell yourself at those moments of doubt, you have to get into this mindset of, well, I've never done this before, but that's the point. I wouldn't like doing stuff that I've already done. It's much more exciting if you do something new, if you gain an extra level of consciousness, and that's what I am aiming at. It's not about just being busy doing the familiar stuff, but it's also always about doing something that is a bit higher than your current level. Not a bit higher, sometimes you need to like find battles that are super hard, and that's how you will grow. That's how you will understand so much more than your current state of understanding, and that's what we are shooting for. It's all about knowing that you can handle it and doing it anyway, because when you know that you can handle something, you're going to give it all you've got, and you're going to empty the tank, and you're going to feel the pride of like courage. Like, being courageous is just, it's a feeling that cannot be equal to any other feelings, okay? It's just a grand it's a grand state of mind. It's like you're in a higher level than you've ever been. You're not a human being anymore. You're just like transformed and transcended into this higher realm that like only the highest consciousness exists, and you gain access to so much new and novel insights that you've never even imagined yourself being able to like catch and being able to grapple with. But right now you have been given the opportunity to like see that you can take on any challenges. You can take on the hardest challenge that you've ever taken on, and you can do that because you know that you are capable of taking on such a huge load of effort and of struggle, just because you've done it before. So in order to get rid of the limiting belief, we have to get rid of this mindset that if we haven't done it before, then we're not going to be able to do it, by breaking the pattern and just doing it, just like stepping into the battle, knowing that you're not ready, knowing that you're not prepared for any of the obstacles that you're going to be facing, any of the challenges, any of the maneuvering situation that you need to handle. Like, none of that is familiar to you, none of that is known to you, and you're going into it knowing that you're not probably gonna win, but you're gonna do it anyways. That's life. Like, you have to understand that you're never gonna feel ready, you're never gonna feel like you're gonna win. You're always gonna feel like, oh I'm gonna fail, and all of this effort is gonna be for nothing. All of the energy that I'm gonna spend on it, it's gonna be for nothing. But you're gonna do it anyways, because it's like about really handling yourself in the process. It's not really about winning or anything. It's about exercising your power of self adjustment and self regulation and self what, I don't know, self-reliant, I guess. You have to be self-sufficient, and unless you go into unknown territories, you're not gonna learn to be self-reliant. You're not gonna learn that skill. The only way you can learn it is by going there. So Thank you so much for listening to me. This was a very huge thing for me to talk about. And in the next episode, which is going to be like absolutely like today, I feel like I'm in the mood of talking and I'm going to be talking about something better, maybe. I don't know. Thank you.